Hello, my name is Brother Sean. Yes, I'm a cross-dresser for the light. In one video I did early last year, when someone said, "What are you?" and I said, "I'm a lap dancer for JC and the Sunshine Band." Humour plays a big part in my life. Doesn't it in yours? Because you know Benedict, the great Saint Benedict, once said to his novices at Monte Cassino, "A spoonful of honey attracts more flies than a barrel of vinegar." So let's move on from the vinegar and the honey, and let's look at something very briefly. Gaia's very own TV station. Oh yes, Gaia's very own TV station. What is that all about? I can almost hear the vibrations coming from your mind. Gaia's TV on the internet. Yeah. For those of you who don't know the story, in February 2011, while busy in the kitchen here in the monastery preparing a meal for some of our visitors, I got a strong premonition to stop, to sit, to listen, to be quiet. And a message came: set up a new live stream channel called Heart to Soul Interspiritual Prayer Channel. And each night at 9 o'clock London time, we go live for Gaia for 60 minutes. And it continues to this day, and today is the 22nd of March 2012. And each night our friends and members of Heart to Soul Prayer Partners for Peace, an interspiritual international spiritual network of friends that we brought together for Gaia, to unite from all faiths and share their love, to nurture love. And we have guest speakers, some who sing, some who are humorous, some who read, some who do guided meditations, some who play the beautiful healing bowls, the Tibetan music bowls. But the purpose of the channel is for two things. And Gaia asked that we do two things. That we make a commitment to unite and send love, light, blessing and prayer to Jerusalem, the heart chakra of the world. And second request was to pray for the Abrahamic faith that consists of Jew, Muslim and Christian. And I know many of you will know that Jerusalem is the birthplace of all three, through Abraham. But poor old Abraham got greedy too, because he was human, just like you and me. And Abraham, in his advancing years, was married to a beautiful woman called Sarah. And Sarah was in her barren year, and I think they said she was in her 80s. But the message from God was that she would conceive a son who would be heir apparent of the chosen people. And his name was Isaac. But of course, Abraham, like me, like you, got fed up, he got impatient, he got weary of praying, a bit like me praying for the field of dreams. Trusting, and I have been since 2006, sending love, light and blessing to God, thanking him for the field of dreams, that special place where a group of men and women of different faiths can give their lives to God in prayer, that all faiths will become one, and where we can welcome brothers and sisters of different beliefs who are hurting and who need a place of refuge for respite. But coming back to Abraham, guess what? He fell in love with a young filly. Oh yes, he fell in love with their servant, Hagar. She was gorgeous. So it says she had hair that almost she didn't need to wear a frock. She was stunning, but she wasn't a Jewess. And Abraham couldn't keep the zip up on his trousers. Mind you, they didn't wear them then, did they? So he slept with her. And true enough, 9 months later, Hagar produced a son called Ishmael. And Sarah went ballistic. You can imagine it. It's a bit like you're married and you come home and you find that your husband has been up to no good. And how do you know it? Because you can tell. If you're married to someone, you know immediately whether they've been faithful or had their wicked way with the office secretary or some floozy in a jacuzzi. Sarah was not pleased because Abraham had dishonored the promise that God had given to them both, that they would conceive the heir apparent for the chosen people. So can you imagine the conflict? Well, there you go. So Sarah got her way and Hagar was banished with her son Ishmael. And Ishmael is the link for Muslims to Abraham, and for Jews it's through Isaac, and for Christians it's through Jesus, whose link was through Isaac to Abraham. So here you have three very powerful faiths who down through the centuries have tried to slaughter one another in the name of God. They've tried to annihilate one another in the name of God. And to this day in Jerusalem, they offer lip service, but their hearts are very far from God. So Gaia asked that we would pray for the Abrahamic faith, for them to surrender their male-dominated ego and embrace the feminine energies of God, and bring in that softness that they compromised on the altars of their ego and indifference and their preoccupation with ritual and sacrifice. And I know you'll have read the scriptures where Jesus said, I do not want sacrifice, I want your heart. So we do this every night for Gaia. We have a live stream channel that sends out a powerful message to the world that we are praying for the heart chakra of the world to come back into balance, because at the moment, as you know, with all the conflict in the Middle East and around the world, it is all through this indifference to surrendering the heart and embracing the feminine aspect of a loving God. I do not see God as male. I see my God as a father-mother God with equal proportions of feminine and masculine energy. And if we in our own life, in our spiritual path, are predominantly male thinking, compromising our feminine side, then we're out of kilter, aren't we? So it's important to have balance. It's important to have that harmony, because it facilitates a divine connection with the Supreme. And today we have the privilege of using Livestream, which is free, although we would like to upgrade to a better channel that's all singing and dancing with no adverts, but that costs money. And we are a not-for-profit organization whose constitution prohibits us from applying for funding. So we rely on our league of friends that we're hoping will come together and apply for funding for the community, the Teo community of St. Francis, interspiritual Franciscans. And through Brother Tom in America, we're setting up a field of dreams there for the people of America, as we are over here for the people of Europe. If you would like to know and join us, then just type in USA, Teo USA, teo/USA.com or interfaithfranciscans.com. You'll find us. So how do we use this wonderful TV channel for Gaia? By spreading the word. We have a PR machine, the angelic realm, but sometimes they need us because we're incarnated, they're not. They need us to be open in our heart. They ask us to surrender our heart and trust them and ask them. And that's why they're performing miracles today, because we're listening, we're praying, we're loving, we're caring.